Tech Talk Tuesday with George Rosenthal of ThrottleNet. ThrottleNet.com.
Yeah, it's Tech Talk Tuesday, and George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet is back with us on this Tuesday. George, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me again. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, truth be told, George and I had a little Tech Talk Monday because I had some issues with my Apple products that I'm still maybe experiencing just a little bit here. I'm trying to figure it out. But you actually have an Apple topic for us today, something that is being referred to as the Skeleton Key Flaw. What the heck is that all about?
Yes. This thing, I tell you, what's interesting is this has been around since the very first iPhone, but now it's being exploited in a very bad way. So it's taking advantage of the dynamic link editor. So let me not get too technical here, but it's basically the doorman for your phone. So it's basically saying which apps are allowed to run, what they can talk to, what they can touch on your phone. And essentially, a hacker can take advantage of that doorman and start overriding and running apps on its own without you knowing a single thing. And what's very scary about this is that they can exploit your phone, your iPhone specifically, through a text message or an email. And you don't even have to open the text message. So as soon as the text message comes to your phone, because your phone is opening the Messages app and acknowledging the text, the code is inherently built in to tell the doorman of your phone to take over all of the main applications of your device, like the camera, the microphone, the messaging app. And you won't even know that it's going on. And it completely takes over and watches everything that's going on in your phone. And then what's wild is it can then go in and delete every single thing in your Apple account, your Apple ID account. That's all your pictures, all your saved playlists on Apple Music, anything in the cloud. It can go out and erase it all. And Apple's not responsible for it. So this is something that is very critical. This is why it's such a big deal in the news today, that you go out and update your iPhone, not necessarily your MacBook. That's what we were talking about earlier, Mark.
Yeah, my iPad, yeah.
But very specifically, your iPhone to 26.3. Get that update immediately to get rid of this zero-day vulnerability. And also, if you don't use a PIN number code, like a 4-digit or a 6-digit PIN to open or unlock your phone,
right?
Please do that. And if you can, use Face ID to do that. And then one last thing you can do to protect your device. This is the NSA and Apple are both telling everybody, restart your device every Sunday night, basically once a week.
Really?
Put it in your head once a week. You should turn off your phone completely, close all the apps first, then turn off your phone. Reboot your phone, because a lot of this code, this malware and spyware that we're talking about, is being saved in the temporary folder of your device. So if you clear that, it can be cleared once you turn off the phone and restart it. So once a week, just make it a habit, close all the apps on your phone and restart the device, along with a PIN code, use your Face ID, and definitely tonight, before you go to bed, no matter what, 26.3 iOS update.
Well, and we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. One thing that sometimes happens with these Apple updates is they don't always, hit a home run on the first time, and then they have some fixes that come along. But what I've seen out there is people on social media saying, and this was before this happened today with the Skeleton Key, but people saying, don't do it, don't change the software, you're going to regret it, because, in my opinion, George, they screwed up this last software update. I mean, they changed things that they didn't need to change. They've made it confusing. And I've heard that from other people who are very loyal to their Apple products. So this is interesting to hear that. And I've never thought about regularly. I try to do that, I think, with my iPad and computer more when it comes to rebooting and starting it. But that's interesting advice.
Yes, and closing the apps on a regular basis. I mean, my goodness, I've seen my kids' phones where they've got 30 apps open at one time, and they're wondering why the battery's draining so quick or why the device is running slow. And it's like, guys, memory on your device is completely full. So closing those apps, but definitely rebooting the phone once a week is very important.
All right, good advice, George. George Rosenthal. It's Tech Talk Tuesdays from ThrottleNet here. Let's talk about a couple other things that are going on. I'm going to feature audio cut of the day here. I have some audio from Robert Duvall when he was here in the studio, not with me, but with Charlie Brennan at KMOX 20 years ago. And, of course, he passed away. But Hollywood is still at the forefront of a lot of this AI stuff. You kind of wonder in a few years if guys like Robert Duvall will even be needed because of AI.
as far as what's being needed, this video came out 2 days ago, and I got to tell you, it is Brad Pitt fighting Tom Cruise on the top of a building in kind of a post-apocalyptic L.A. And this just came out a couple days ago. You can see this on YouTube. KTLA did a big story about it out there in L.A. It is the talk of Hollywood right now, and it's scaring everyone half to death. This guy took a picture of Brad Pitt, a photograph of Tom Cruise, and with a small paragraph of text, created a fight scene with them fighting on the roof that looks exactly like them, sounds like them, has background music, has all the sound effects of their fight and so forth. It is absolutely unbelievable. And it really is scaring everybody. I mean, for example, the Deathpool screenwriter, his name is Rhett Reese, he said on X, it's over for us. If AI can generate a movie for $5, why would a studio pay $200 million? And he's 100% right. And you know what? A year ago, we were talking about this, and it was all choppy. It was all, you could tell like the fingers on the hands were all messed up. This looks stunningly real. It is absolutely unreal. It's going to pose a big deal to the Supreme Court, which is coming up very, very soon. And that is a parody. Is it deep fake a parody, or is it piracy? So if someone takes your face off Facebook or LinkedIn and makes a bad video of you doing something that you never did, how is that going to be illegal? And so thank goodness last year in May, they passed a law called the Take It Down Act. And this is very important for parents and kids out there. Don't do anything stupid with AI and create some video of an ex-friend of yours or an enemy of yours that you think you're going to get, because now it's a felony. Now, if you post something online that is using AI to create using someone's image or voice that is not them, or committing a lewd act or any type of nudity, you can go to federal prison now. In fact, Facebook and all social media now has 48 hours to take down any claim of a fake intimate image or intimate video created by AI. And if they don't, they get in serious trouble. So finally, the law is catching up to this. And again, it's called the Take It Down Act, passed in May of last year. It's very, very important to explain to your kids, don't mess around with AI and think you're playing a practical joke on somebody by making them do something in a video that is lewd or not good, because it is a felony now. So I'm so glad that's finally catching up. But as far as Hollywood goes, movies are going to be created in a totally different way.
Yeah, let's go back to that for a second, because you mentioned Rhett Reese from Deadpool. I mean, I'm already fearful of the way that AI is going to affect me, my life, my career, all these things. But if I'm in, Hollywood in particular, or even some of the special effects people, obviously you want to use the technology, and I'm sure they have been to their advantage in making the best product they can. But this becomes, as Rhett Reese indicated, pretty damn scary for the Hollywood types. Now, the unions involved here, SAG-AFTRA has issued a statement. They're going to, try to create rules as much as they can to make sure that real people are acting in films. But, that budget number that he throws out there is pretty incredible. They got 200, sometimes upwards of almost $300 million budgets on some of these products or projects. That won't be necessary, perhaps.
No. Well, and what do you get into legally now? Now you're going to say, okay, look, I'll pay you $2 million for the right to use your face and voice and your demeanor and the way you handle yourself. I'll pay you $2 million. But then a starving actor may say, sure. They take the $2 million, and then somebody goes out and makes 10 movies with them and cuts them out of the deal. So there's a lot that's going to happen with this. I mean, there's so many different facets to the legalities of who owns your face, who owns your voice. That's going to have to be a Supreme Court issue that's going to have to be decided pretty darn quick, because it's not just Hollywood, it's going to be the general population. If somebody does something with your face, how much do you own of your facial expressions? How much do you own of your voice? And it sounds like we're talking about some sci-fi movie here, but this is now.
That's insane.
And it's reality.
No, it's insane. Let me take you back to you mentioned the Supreme Court and the parody case, because this seems very important as well. And I'm a fan of satire and parody. Of satire and parody, but they're going to have to make a big decision here on whether or not some of the deep fakes, if you will, are parody or if there's something more nefarious.
Well, yeah. I mean, look. I mean, if someone you can parody somebody's voice. Like, I mean, my goodness, how often has Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice been copied
or Harry Carey? Yeah,
Harry Carey. My goodness,
right?
Yeah, so that's one thing to do that, but then when does it become illegal to use their actual voice? And then you can see this in the video with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in the fight scene. Tom Cruise doesn't sound anything like Tom Cruise. His voice is off. But then again, what if Tom Cruise comes back and says, well, no, that could be me if I was to act? I'm an actor. What if I acted and that is my voice in that particular scene? Now you get into a lawsuit.
Oh, man.
You're using my face. You're using my face. These actors change their voices because they're actors. So that's the whole point. How are you going to get into this whole thing of a parody of an acting versus using just my face? And then the mannerisms. I mean, Tom Cruise in this video isn't Tom Cruise, but the mannerisms.
I watched it. It's pretty incredible.
Just like him.
It makes me feel like you're going to have maybe folks at SLU are listening, but you almost have to have entire university law schools maybe having some dedication to a class along these lines. That's how serious this is going to get.
Oh, my gosh. I gave a presentation to a bunch of attorneys and judges, and they were, worried about AI. And I said, I said, we're going to need a lot more judges and a lot more attorneys when it comes to this. This is going to be a whole other set of legalities and fights in court about whose voice is what. And then the contractual side of it is, can you sell your identity legally? And then if you do sell it to Hollywood, then can anybody else take it and do whatever they want with it that may not have signed that contract? Well, you already sold out on your identity on your face. Where does that end? And it's going to be a massive amount of battles back and forth. And it's going to start with the Supreme Court of saying, look, who owns your voice? Who owns your body language? Who owns your face? What's a parody? What's piracy? And then how does it get down to companies like ByteDance in China that literally, this is what Disney's claiming, that they copied every single Disney movie ever made. And that is what they're using for this fight scene, and they're using to create other movies with text.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah. That's crazy. Look, some of this, every time we talk, my brain just explodes because the possibilities here and just every path you go down starts you to get to wonder about what's going to happen here with the resolution related to AI. Yeah. And it makes me a little sad that I'm not a lawyer that's addressing these issues because I think those are the people going to make the money here. George, always great to have you on for Tech Talk Tuesdays. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
Great talking to you. Have a good rest of the week.
ThrottleNet.com/971.